binoculars. Turned everything down. The storyline, here it goes. I tried, and I've done everything else, as you can see.
I'd heard about how creepy Wyler could be from a few other actresses, but when he started getting overly touchy-feely, I knew there was going to be trouble. I had repeatedly tried to brush him off, or keep others on set with me, so I was never alone with him. But that day, he had finally cornered me alone, and things dove into uncomfortable territory. If it weren't for Jeff, the set foreman's interruption, who knows what might have happened. I should have known the invitation to the theater for an early screening of the work in progress was BS. What I received in the theater was a stack of photos of me with Jacob Geiger, my co-star. This creep had me followed and was acting like some demented, upset boyfriend. When I tried to leave, he pushed me down into the chair and told me he had one last thing to show me. I have no idea how it happened. But when I saw the cabin, and I was back in makeup and costume, I thought I'd lost my mind. The film was nothing like the set. It was somehow real. And so was the masked killer that was running around at the loose. I remember the mask, the coldness of it as my hands pressed against it, trying to free myself from the killer's grasp, while he plunged his blade into my stomach. I was dead within moments of the first puncture. Please tell me this isn't my final curtain call.
Oh, that's one way to break up your band. How was her final bow?
Oh, that's interesting. Just got a quote from Kevin after that first one. I'm going to do them all in order and listen to them 3 times. Fucking hell, that's the first time I've ever got that. Dog, this is for you. Right, the next one is the shovel, so we get 3 here, hopefully.
When I got the call for the job, I had just spent my last dollar on a cup of instant soup. The work was tough, but Mr. Hudson seemed like a good guy. Said I could make it with his crew if I just suited up, showed up, and worked hard every day. He's like a father figure to most of the young guys on the site. He'd taken many under his wing, sort of like me. I was at the bus stop when he pulled up and offered me a lift home that night. Who knew that'd be the last time I'd see my guys at the site, or Mr. Hudson. When we showed up at the theater, he said we'd just be a minute, but this would be my big chance to meet the famous Willard Wyler. I mean, it was one thing working on one of his movies, but I was pretty much geeking out when he said I'd be meeting the man in the flesh. Mr. Wyler seemed pissed off right from the get-go. Neither man seemed to even care that I was just standing there watching him bicker like 2 school kids. When the lights went out, I didn't think anything of it, but when that screen opened up, I just about shit my pants, literally. Mr. Hudson tried to save me, but that dude in the mask just tossed him around like a rag doll. The pain I felt right after my legs were hacked off was real intense. By the time my body hit the dirt, I was in shock. I didn't even feel anything else. I just laid there on the ground, in and out of consciousness, watching him slowly mutilate Mr. Hudson's body until the darkness came over me. I just want to go home. When I got the call for the job, I had just spent my last dollar on a cup of instant soup. The work was tough, but Mr. Hudson seemed like a good guy. Said I could make it with his crew if I just suited up, showed up, and worked hard every day. He's like a father figure to most of the young guys on the site. He'd taken many under his wing, sort of like me. I was at the bus stop when he pulled up and offered me a lift home that night.
Not just
Who
fucked
knew
it
that'd
up.
be the last time I'd see my
I had
guys at
to
the
check.
site, or Mr. Hudson.
Whatever next.
I was sent on behalf of the company had requested permission to return to our land to film another of his movies. The message I was to deliver was that he was no longer welcomed by the tribes after irreparable damage to a sacred ritual site had taken place during his previous shoots. Any attempt to push the filming permit through was to be met with a unified tribal protest. Willard Weiler was polite and accommodating initially, but when I attempted to explain the tribe's firm position on the matter, he would hear none of it. When that movie screen lit up and the wind began, I thought they were some kind of parlor tricks trying to frighten me at first. But when I was in the air flying into the screen, it was all too real. The masked monster and the undead that I saw on screen while in the theater were hunting me through the forest. I ran as fast as I could, but I never made it very far. The blade of my assailant went through my neck and into the tree I was resting against. For a split second, I could see my lifeless body slumped to the floor without my head. May the spirits of my ancestors protect me.
Fucking eerie. I just gotta do this.
I'd worked for Mr. Weiler for some time before meeting Winona. But when I did, I knew she was the one. We dated in secret for about a year before letting her father in on it. Talk about a tense day. He wouldn't allow me to give her my name. Instead, I was to hyphenate mine with his. That was the only way he'd provide his blessing. Matthew Mason Weiler. I felt like an idiot. But for her, I would have done anything. Winona was the love of my life.
Why is a woman involved?
And I wasn't going to allow him to keep us apart. When Winona told me she wanted to break away from her father and create a name for herself, I was hesitant, but supportive. I told her he was going to kill us when he found out about the children's film company, but I never thought in a million years that he'd actually go through with it. The vortex that lifted us off our feet and into the screen looked like something right out of Willard's films. Winona was pulled through first, but I wasn't far behind her. And as unbelievable as it were, there we stood, in the cabin within his wretched film. We made our escape from the monsters surrounding the cabin and happened upon the small island at the lake's center. We pleaded with Mr. Smith on the island to let us into his cabin, but he accused us of being in on this entire fiasco with Willard. Coincidentally, on the way back to the shore, we overheard his screams. But whatever had killed him had now turned its attention to us.
What killed him?
The slasher
He's alive
attacked
now.
Winona first.
Hmm.
I tried to defend her, but I was immediately incapacitated. While I lay helplessly bleeding, nearly unconscious,
Shh, 1 second, mate.
the final sounds I would ever hear were over Winona's screams. I'm so sorry. I love her.
Fucking hell, this dude's crying. Right, yeah, hands. Either in or up at the Owl and Wolf cabins, you know, behind that sort of wall bit underneath racing stripes. Yes. That's right, mate. Right, that was the ring, so let's do the mask now. It's not fucking. This is wicked.
His jealousy and
I'm
desire
streaming.
for
Watch it. Listen.
would be the death of me. Getting cast in the film alongside Brittany Maxey, that was a dream come true. She was an absolutely beautiful Hollywood starlet on the rise, and Wyler's films, well, they were the stuff of legend. I thought my career was going to blast off. Brittany she was a workhorse. She wanted to rehearse all the time, but our rehearsals turned into late dinners, which turned into long weekends, which turned into much more than I had ever bargained for. We both lived our separate lives apart, but when we were together, we were a couple in love. We always played it safe because we knew the tabloids would have a field day. The photos still turned up. The afternoon they did, I received a message that I was to see Mr. Wyler in his trailer immediately. The photos he threw on the desk in front of me, they were going to end my marriage, possibly damage the film, and likely my career. Willard assured me that he could make this all go away, but that I was not to see Miss Maxey any further, unless on set. I swore I'd break it off immediately and left his trailer. I'd seen Wyler get flirty with girls on the set, but he had a real hard-on for Brittany.
Talk about a fatal attraction.
Another one there.
I'd always wanted to know how Willard Wyler got his movies to look so real. For weeks, I had been feverishly waiting our class trip to Mr. Wyler's theater. This was the man, the myth, the legend. This was Willard Wyler we were talking about here. When we arrived at the theater, the nostalgia washed over me pretty hardcore. I'd watched his movies 1,000 times. After we were all in the theater, the magic show began. Every kid from my theater class had been transported with me into the classic film Rave in the Redwoods, right into the scene where the zombie lumberjacks invade the rave. The zombies chewed on just about everybody. And anyone that didn't get chewed on got chopped up by that masked freak. What really pisses me off is knowing he was a freaking soul pimp. He actually sold us off to this jerk, and for what? You think you're getting to meet a lifetime idol, and the next thing you know, your professor is selling your soul for eternal life or something. I mean, if I had known I was going to end up in this film at the beginning of the semester, I'd have studied chemistry instead.
I'll take a look in a minute at that comment. Just gotta check out the rest of this storyline in the cinema.
I'd have never taken the job if I knew this dame was gonna have me sleeping with the fishes. It was supposed to be a regular job. Follow this girl around, report back on who she's seeing, where she's going, you know, typical paranoid husband-boyfriend stuff. Weird part is, this job pays big. Real big. First couple of nights, nothing. Then I start seeing this guy come around. Young guy with a long beard. So I snap a couple of photos. Turns out he's her co-star on this new flick Weiler's directing. When I delivered the second round of photos to Weiler, well, he about blew a gasket. He's going on and on about this broad like he's got a ding for her or something. Pulls out a bottle of something spicy and asks me if I want a drink. So I say, sure, why not? Well, whatever the hell Weiler put in that drink turned my head inside out. All of a sudden, I'm in a forest seeing zombies and some big masked guy trying to cut people up. So I put a couple of rounds in him. That son of a bitch was like a tank. Last thing I remember was getting my belly slit open and thrown off the dock by that big fuck. Right into the water like a bucket of chum. Turns out the fishes were biting a little too much.
Oh man, turned into fish food.
Fucking hell, I'm getting quotes from Kevin about this storyline, you know. That's 3 so far.
To help here.
With a mask.
He wouldn't listen to me. Even Winona agreed that selling off the assets was the only way not to lose everything. Yet he refused to hear a word of it from either of us. The last 3 films had bankrupted the company, and the blood-sucking debt collectors had come to collect, one way or another. The bronze toad struck me across the back of my neck, and I blacked out immediately. Awakening in the theater was unexpected, but ending up inside Rave in the Redwoods was beyond my wildest imagination. I thought I'd been drugged, but the pain I felt from the movie slasher's blade was all too real. Willard had gone completely mad. He'd stop at nothing, killing anyone to be celebrated again. What had I done? Helping this monster all of these years. I deserve to die. Willard, please calm down. I'm only trying to help here. He wouldn't listen to me. Even Winona agreed that selling off the assets was the only way not to lose everything. Yet he refused to hear a word of it from either of us. The last 3 films had bankrupted the company, and the blood-sucking debt collectors had come to collect, one way or another.
Let me just go through this cycle again, maybe. Oh shit, I fucked it up. Right, next.
When we arrived in the Redwoods film, the shock nearly killed me. I couldn't believe my own father had sold his soul and cast Matthew and I away into the oblivion of this film. We sought refuge on an island and pled with the man on the island to help us, but he turned us away. When I was first attacked, Matthew tried to stop him, but he was too strong for either of us.
I tried to get away, but it tore into my flesh with its blade. My last thoughts were of my husband, and the child I had yet to tell him we had conceived. I'm so very sorry, Matthew. I love you. My mother died when I was 6 years old. Her funeral would be the first and last time I'd ever see my father cry. Hiding behind his work, my life was managed by him from afar via a series of checklists and a small team of round-the-clock caretakers. In a state of rebellion, I said yes to Matthew, knowing my father wouldn't approve, but I didn't care. I wanted my own life, not the one my father had so carefully constructed for me. Marrying Matthew meant I could break free of the shackles of my father. Or so I thought. I nearly walked out of my own wedding and just eloped. Just prior to our wedding day, Matthew had told me that my father demanded he take our last name, and that he would break us up if he hadn't. I was furious. But Matthew told me not to fret over it, and that he kind of liked the idea. My father's company was going under, and he wouldn't listen to anyone, not even me. Travis had warned him, but he didn't care. My father would rather watch it all burn than be sold to someone else. I knew I had to go my own way, and allow him to go his. His legacy was his own, not mine to maintain. With Matthew and I both ready to venture into something of our own, we set forth with a plan to establish our own film company. Within a couple of months we were financed, and everything was ready to move forward. I knew breaking the news to my father wasn't exactly going to be easy, but the Band-Aid had to come off. The scolding we received after we told him about the company was terrifying. He accused us of betraying him and cursed us both out. I had never once in my life seen my father so violently angry. He stormed out of the theater, screaming incoherently.
I hope you're not doing what I think you're doing. I got the boots to do, dude. All like 3 more. Right. Here we go. Here we go. Quiet on the dance floor.
The movies we made together were some of the best, I tell you. I'd given that son of a bitch almost 40 years of my blood and sweat. But you know what? This goes to show you, you can't trust nobody in show business anymore.
Was that it?
Me and the crew, we was working in good faith without pay for a month. And most of these kids got families, if you know what I mean.
Shh.
When I tried to talk to him on set,
Okay, mate.
the horny old bastard's got one of these young actresses pinned up.
Dude.
He sees me and gets all worked up and says, we should talk it over at his theater after the shift since he's, busy. So I headed straight over that night to get to the bottom of this little monetary problem we're having.
What happened?
Willard's running at the mouth, telling me to forget what I saw with the girl that morning and all this talk about making deals with some guy. Tells me to just wait until this other deal gets all settled. All I knew was we made a deal, and it was only right that he kept his side of the damn thing. Well, that rat bastard pulled some voodoo shit on me. Next thing I know, I got some damn psychopathic mascot chopping me and my crewman Danny Wapton into pieces in the middle of the forest. Poor kid. I was just giving him a lift home that night and the theater was on the way. Go figure.
Oh, these poor schmucks.
Alright, so that's it. So I've listened to every single one in order 3 times. I've also gone round and done them one time, each time, 3 times, if you get my meaning. So I've done 3 binoculars, 3 spades, 3 arrows, 3 rings, 3 marsh, 3 8 balls, 3 fish, 3 frogs, 3 pacifiers, and 3 boots. And Kevin Smith was saying some quotes in feedback to the storylines, which I've never heard before. But do we have to do them in a certain order? Maybe, I don't know. Perhaps, maybe if you do them in a certain order, it might give you the mask. I don't know. Right, let me check this stuff out. That was for you, H-Dog. I don't know, but let's have a little look. View comments. Big shout out to Ghostcraft. He's tuning in. Thanks for the view, dude. Yeah, done it all solo. Just wanted to do this for the dog. I kind of messed up last night. A little bit, yeah. I didn't hear anything that was going on, and I picked the sulky up, so. I got the sulky now. It's over on the island, waiting to be picked up by whoever wants the egg. So that was all the storyline done, dude, as well. And that was all done. All I've got to do now is wait for the rest of my crew to get on. Hans is already with us. Waiting for H-Dog, waiting for Jamalski, aka Funky Ting, aka Mr. Smoothie. You can check them out, H-Dog TV, Jamalski, YouTube. Now what do I need to do now? 4 bows. The only thing I haven't done actually is the music egg, and killed the slasher with his own weapon. Get this volume back up. Okay, getting a pack a punch.
Ooh, I gotta get me one of those.
Ripperoo! This was the only way I managed to defeat these skulls single player, was with this Mauler double packed. Yeah, I tried it a few times, dude, and I ended up doing the boss fight first, getting loads of money coming out, just wasting it all on the wheel to get this gun. But it worked, you know what I mean? It worked. I don't know what random H-Dog had in mind to come and pick up this soul key. He wanted to help a subscriber out, I believe. So Don't mind if I do. But it's ready. The soul key is ready. You can do that by going.
This baby just went from 0 to hero.
By going to pick up the, instead of doing it on the.
Quit messing with that projector and get back on the set.
Oh, what do you call it? That's it. Instead of doing it on the transponder, do it on the wieners. Exactly the same thing. Go to pick up the wieners. Make sure you don't hit nothing on the way up. Just run straight in. Nice smooth path. Go and pick the wieners up.
Ooh, I gotta get
And
me
as you
one
do
of
that,
those.
hit rewind. And that should give you G mode. Not that I know. I only know H mode. Well, so I'm pretty much done. Maybe there's an order of listening to them in, because I didn't get a quote on them all. Oh, rip. 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 Rip, 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 rip. I need to chill out for a bit. Wait for these. No. I could do the Ghost and Skulls, I guess. But then, if people want to join in, it might be wise if they get it as well, do you know what I mean? What did you rip out? Did you rip out? Oh. Oh my days. Oh, so close then. But no cigar. No rip. Ah! That was very close. Yes. Let's see. Let me sort this sound out. No, I've done that. There could be something behind that. There's something I need to speak to my squad about. Maybe we put something together, because I was getting quotes from Kevin when he was going through the storyline. I need to put this down like this. That's it. That way. So, okay. I'll make myself a coffee. Right, yeah, so might stop streaming now actually, because I've got the storyline, but there could be something behind that charm theory. So if anyone watches this and has got any ideas, leave a comment below, leave a like. Thanks for watching. If you did, take it easy. Peace out. GG.